Welcome to Chi-Town Cigar Podcast, the podcast where three Chicago guys light up a fine cigar and get into everything from sports and current events to hobbies, life's little moments, and everything in between. Whether you're here for the cigars, the conversation, or some good laughs, we got you covered. So grab your favorite smoke, settle in, and join us for laid-back chats with a Chicago twist. Now it's time to put some smoke in the air.
It's not Tuesday night, but it is another episode of the Chi-Town Cigar Podcast. I'm Mike, coming to you not even live from the Aganorsa Studios in Central Illinois, which I'm lucky is still here. But it's been a crazy couple of days. What's going on, guys? Welcome to a recorded episode of the Chi-Town Cigar Podcast. And we're kicking it off right away with Jon Huber from Crowned Heads Cigars. And
hello.
We're just going to get this ball rolling. What is everybody smoking?
I'm smoking the Coroneta Habano, one of my favorites from Crowned Heads. I just love it. And that's what it's my second stick today. So I started with Connecticut, now I'm going with Habano.
Nice. Marty, what are you smoking?
I've got the Tennessee Waltz.
Nice.
Mm.
I am smoking my favorite from last year, the Broadway, which probably you can't see. Maybe you can. Yeah.
That's a great cigar, dude. Top 10.
Oh, it made my top 10 list last year. Yes, it did.
2025, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go. Uh-huh.
So it's anything Nashville related. I don't have a Crowned Heads cigar hat. It's one of the few companies I don't have a hat for.
We'll fix that. We'll take care of that.
But I do have my Tennessee hat on.
Close enough.
It is, yeah.
But no cigar.
Yeah. I love Nashville. Yeah, what do you smoking?
You caught me off guard. I'm smoking a Juan Lopez special selection from Cuba.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay.
That's good.
It is okay.
Yeah.
I'm not apologizing for it.
No,
I mean, most of the stuff that I smoke right now is looks like this. It's like all these different bundles and sizes and wrappers and blends, and So today's Friday. I'm gonna kick back with you guys, and I said, "Shit, I'm gonna smoke one of the Cubans that Miguel sent me." So why not?
Yeah, that's awesome. No, that's awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, it's funny. So in my research, I was listening to some old podcast that you did, and the one I listened to was you in your daughter's room with her Barbies, and the funny thing is, you said that was during COVID. It was during COVID. So your comment was, I wonder how it'll be in 4 or 5 years. So I'm thinking, well,
funny.
We're sort of 4 or 5 years removed. So how's it going with the Barbies?
That room doesn't even look like that anymore. Now it's turned into like this gymnastics / workout / cheerleading practice room. Oh. So there's like the Barbie houses are gone. Now it's plastic mats and like these giant like tumbler things, and go up there and she practices her cheers and stuff and all that. So yeah, the Barbies I'm fly, man. That brought back memories. I'm like, oh shit, COVID. Yeah.
Right. I was watching that. I'm like, wow, yeah. Well, you can live through that. I lived through that with my daughter. She did gymnastics. She did cheerleading. I think I've shared the story on this podcast before, but she came to me her senior year of high school and said, "Dad, I got a scholarship for cheerleading." And I go, "Shut up." I go, "You did?" She goes, "No, I did, Dad." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So it was like 2 weeks later, she goes, "I'm going to go down to see the school." It was in Southern Illinois. So I'm like, "Okay." And she comes back and she shows me the contract and she goes, "Here, would you sign this?" And I'm like, I can't believe you got, it was a local school down there, but it was great. So, hey, it paid for her college for the majority of it. So I had no problem with that. Yeah, exactly.
Why not?
So, yeah, absolutely.
I don't think I've ever heard that story before, Mike.
Oh, I thought I shared that.
That's cool.
Maybe I just shared it amongst the group. Yeah. It's She
I was told to get her into golf because apparently there's more scholarships for women's golf than anything else, and she has almost nothing to do with it. She's just entering 5th grade, so she's like, this is her first year of cheer, and but she's a good little athlete. But the Barbie houses. I miss those days.
Yeah, you got to enjoy them when you can. I mean, she's married now, and I have a grandson through her, so it's like going, hey, they grow up fast. Absolutely.
Slow down.
Yeah.
Damn.
So.
Wow. I'm sorry you had to sit through that podcast, whatever it was.
What was it? It was.
I didn't think people actually did. I didn't think people actually did like research for these things. I think they just figured they Google like a cigar or something or whatever. But I guess all that stuff lives in perpetuity. So you got to be careful.
Yeah. Once you start it, once you do it, it's out there.
I know. Yeah. Oh, well, it is what it is.
So you guys got questions, or start throwing the questions at Jon, or else I'll have to show up. So
I have all kinds of questions. So I've got several Crowned Head hats, and they're all really unique, and I enjoy them a lot. How do you get the ideas for those designs? Kind of take off.
I mean, they just kind of come. I'm going to share something with you guys since it's right next to me, but all the ideas just kind of come at various times of the day, whatever. And it's just a matter of like channeling it. But this is actually better than me just talking. But this file that I have on my desk, this is every hat that I've designed or that's in the production queue or that's actually in production and we're waiting on right now. And it's never been the same design twice.
Wow.
That tells you a little bit about how much time and effort. I have actually one of the guys, a big supporter in Oregon. A shout out to Brian. He told me he's on 250, almost 260 hats that he's purchased off of our website. And when he first told us that, I told Adam in the warehouse, I said, hey, this guy says he's bought this many hats. And he's like, oh, I'm calling bullshit. I'm going to run an aging on him off of Shopify. And sure enough, several thousands of dollars have been spent on Crowned Heads hats. God bless him.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I had a problem.
How to answer that question? I don't know. It's just inspiration comes, whether it be a hat or a cigar or a shirt or whatever. I'm just kind of like that, I just kind of try to dumb myself down and just listen, and then things will just pop in. It's when you try and sit there and go, I need to come up with this. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's especially now in this day and age of like artificial intelligence, and I see certain designs or certain things, I can spot it immediately, and it's disingenuous. It's like, oh, you just used AI and you said, oh, dude, da 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 da. Mm-hmm. There's a huge difference between the human creative and then the artificial intelligence creative, I think.
I think Crowned Heads has the best hat game in the industry for sure.
Thank you. I mean, you can have creative ideas, but if you don't have a good connection with a good manufacturer, a good factory that has quality materials, then it doesn't matter. And I'm very fortunate that I found Dome Hats out of Jacksonville, and I developed a good relationship with those guys over the last decade. And they let me do some pretty out there things. Like I'm at a point now where like I have an idea and it's not something they've done before. They're like, okay, well, let's try to make it happen. We'll create it at the factory level, and then we'll send it to you, and then you adjust it and tweak it. And so it's fun to do stuff like that. So they're great. I love those guys.
That's awesome. Gotta love a good baseball hat. I've got enough of them.
I can never get enough. I'm constant. No. I have a garage full. I have a closet full, and I'm constantly rotating and but there's no telling how many I have. It's just like, I've collected hats and been into hats since I was a little kid. It's something that I always was into since I was probably 5 or 6. And then now to grow up and be in a space where I can, at some level, create my own with like companies like Dome or New Era Cap, which is like, oh my God, that was like insane. Or Ebbetsfield and stuff like that. It's been a real joy.
Are you a straight brim or are you the curved brim?
Curved.
Good.
Curved.
Good. Excellent. Excellent.
My VP of sales, Miguel Shodell, he's absolutely every fitted hat has to be flat brim to the point where like he actually will iron the brim.
Oh my goodness.
It cannot have any bend in it. And I just think like once you get past the age of 18, it looks stupid to wear a flat brimmed hat.
Yeah.
But to each his own. I mean, whatever. It's all good.
I'm a country music fan. So Blake Shelton was doing it. There was a TikTok of Blake Shelton, and somebody gave him a flat brimmed hat.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm telling you this right now. He goes, I will go home and work this sucker and get a curve on this thing. I don't care what I got to do. So I'm like, all right, Blake.
I keep a stash of rubber bands here so that when I get a flat brimmed hat, I mold it the way I want it, and then I put the rubber bands on it, and then I don't touch it for like a week. It just looks silly on me. I don't know. It looks a little whatever, but you got to have a bend in it at some point, a little bit. But yeah.
So you also take your creativity and your branding. You guys just went through a new rebrand last year that looks awesome.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Were
That
you
was
heavily involved with the designs for those, or how'd that come?
Yeah. Basically, it was myself and a gentleman from the Dominican Republic by the name of Juan Carlos Fondier. We were the two that primarily spearheaded that whole thing. And it was pretty labor intensive, and people today, like now, I just talked to a buddy of mine in the business. He's like, you could have done that in AI and saved yourself a year. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. No, yeah, you could have, whatever. But we literally started, gosh, I think in 24, and it took about 18 months to complete everything to the point where we could get it tangibly on the shelf. But it was a long process because I had the idea of what we call the hero logo, which is the CH with the crown over it. And I said, I've done that on a baseball hat before. I said, let's take that and let's make that the actual primary logo. But then, that was the kicking off point. So Juan Carlos sent me like 10 versions of that. And then we would narrow that down to like 3 and then narrow that down to 1. Then he would give me 10 versions of that. And then we'd pick one from there. And it just went on and on for months. Then the idea was like, okay, once we have that established, like how do we maintain the integrity of the current brands without confusing people? Like, in other words, like, long story, but basically, like on Mil Diaz, if you look at the side of the band, we kept that M that signified 1,000 and an M. We did the same thing with the crown on Imperials and all that stuff. So yeah, it took a long time. And I was nervous about doing it the whole time because I had other people that were really well established in the business, in the industry, telling me, no, you're doing everything right, man. Don't do that. Don't homogenize everything. You're going to make everything look the same. Don't, look. In fact, Ernesto Perez Carrillo, Hall of Fame, Mount Rushmore guy in this business, was telling me like, no, you're doing it right. And look what Habanos does. Habanos does the same thing. They have San Luis Rey, they have Cohiba, they have this, they all look different. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. I guess I am doing something right. But when it all was said and done, I don't regret the decision at all. I mean, it really has injected new life into brands that have been out for a decade. And people are discovering those brands now, like as if it was the first time they've ever been made. So it went off as better than I could have ever expected. But now we've got a good template going forward.
I like it a lot. Yeah, it makes the cigar stand out more. Obviously, I have the Tennessee Waltz with the older band, but with I work for a cigar shop, the Ultimate Cigar Lounge, and we have the new ones in the back stock. But it makes the cigar stand more. It's beautiful. So you did a great job with that.
It establishes us on the shelf. Like you can now eventually you're going to look and go, oh, that's the Crowned Heads section. Whereas what really kind of triggered the need for this was we were in our 2024, I think, sales meeting. And we had it at a local retail shop, Casa de Monte Cristo. And we went in there, the whole group of us, into the humidor. And I was like looking at our space on the wall, and they carried everything we had, and including everything from Juarez all the way up to La Beretta at the time. And it was all next to each other. It was all in the section. And I was like, I'm part owner of this company, and I can't tell who that is on the shelf. I have no idea. There's no connectivity. There's no brand recognition. So I knew we had an issue. And so that's when, that was the first step. First step is knowing you have a problem. And, so yeah. And then of course, you got to decide what brands are you going to keep, which brands are you going to rationalize, then you start looking into the actual analytics and the financials and the trends and all of these things. So it was a lot of work.
The only older band that you kept, it was only 1 or 2 cigars, right, from the line?
Yeah, we kept Juarez just because it's just like kind of our value prop kind of a thing. So there was no need to like really dress it up, because I felt like if we dressed it up, it was going to make people like. So we kept Juarez alone, and all the LEs stay the same.
Okay.
The regular production stuff all folds into that new look. Everything from Jericho Hill all the way up to Broadway, now Moonflower, and then 2027. I already have 2027's brand done, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we have to work at least a year out now, especially with the packaging, because the packaging we use Rye Dog in Holland, and they're notorious for taking a long time.
It's funny you mentioned packaging because I heard you were talking about it. I forget on what podcast I heard you say it, but that you don't put a lot of emphasis behind packaging because I think when you were with C.A.O, you talked about the box that lit up and your anger, your anger for that going. People are going to look at this box and think we're putting all the money into the box and giving them crap 100%. Cigars. So I love that philosophy that it's, the cigar comes first and however the packaging is, but it's, we're all cigar nerds.
When my former business partner, Mike Condor, who was my boss at C.A.O at the time, when he asked me to do something after C.A.O went bye-bye, I was like, I will do it, but you got to let me have creative latitude. I don't want to make C.A.O 2.0 because there's a lot of things that I want to do differently. And to his credit, he gave me that carte blanche to do it in a different way. But that's a prime example of I remember behind the scenes, like in 05, 06, when we were all talking about this project and vision. I said, this blend is so good. It was made by La Aurora. It was a Dominican-made cigar, which we didn't have in the portfolio, so it filled a niche. The blend was like maybe 2 different leaves away from Cien Años, which at the time was a phenomenal cigar. And I'm like, you need to make the mental perception that the money is in the cigar. This is, but when you put this, make it look like an iPod and it lights up and it's plastic and you can people are going to be like, you're trying to convince me to buy this cigar. It's a gimmick and it shouldn't be priced at this because I'm paying for the pack. No. You're wrong. And we're going to do it this way. And if it's cool, people are going to buy it. And, despite it getting great ratings and this and that, the project ultimately was a loss. And a lot of packaging material was written off as a loss. And I thought my pitch to the Osgooders was, put it in a plain cabinet box. Let the cigar be the star. Don't fucking waste it on a gimmicky idea. But there are other people that were more interested in packaging than I was, obviously. And so that's why it's a long way of saying that's why 4 Kicks looked the way it did when we released it, because I did a slide top cabinet box, no vistas, no nothing. Just I wanted everything to be about the cigar. So. Yeah.
And I think you're seeing it more and more. It's funny, the more podcasts I listen to, the more reading I do. It's like the average cigar guy wants a good cigar and they don't care about the packaging. It's 100%. Like, give it to us in a plain brown wrapper and we don't care as long as we're getting good quality cigars, so I really respect you guys doing and having that philosophy of that.
Well, it does look nice. It's a nice presentation that we have now, but it's not over the top where the boxes have music that plays or something crazy. I don't know, but it's a respectable presentation. It's attractive. It's cohesive, but it's not to the point where this is a gimmick or whatever. I think at C.A.O, the certain people in the organization got a little bit too down the path of let's make it look like the trunk of a car. Let's make it look like an iPod. Let's make it look like a baseball bat. Let's make it, it just got out of control real fast. And
absolutely.
But whatever. I have no aspirations to do that.
Marty, you got another question?
Yeah. So we're like a real new podcast. We've only been doing this really full time, like a year and a half on a regular basis. So we haven't got to hear your story on our podcast of how you got into cigars and how you started at C.A.O and then and then
the whole thing.
Yeah.
I just moved to Nashville from Los Angeles. So I grew up in California and San Francisco. Then I moved to LA, lived in LA, moved out here to Nashville. And I was kind of at that point in my life where man, I've had a lot of shitty jobs. I want to do something that I love. And it was a matter of really figuring out what made me happy. And it sounds kind of a little bit self-absorbed or whatever. But anyway, after a lot of soul searching or whatever, I realized that I wanted to do something that was made by hand or whatever. And just there was this idea of the romance of agricultural type thing, but I didn't have a clear picture of what that was. One day I just happened to go into a cigar shop because I was looking for a gift for my father in California I was flying back out to spend the holidays. I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of a cool gift. Cigars. That'd be like a guy's thing, you know? So I went in there and like literally like as soon as I walked into this humidor, the smell of the cedar and the tobacco, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. What is this? You know? And then somebody came up to me and sold me an assortment of cigars. Went back to California, smoked some, came back, and I really like went down the rabbit hole. I'm like, I gotta figure this out. This is really cool. What is this? So I would save up some money every week and go into that same store and, you know, hey, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? I would go home and I would have the little 3x5 note cards, make notes, try to educate my palate, all this. And then eventually I just said, this is what I want to do. So the way I got into the industry back then, you couldn't drop into somebody's DMs, and there's no social media. There's nothing. It was, you know, you had just Cigar Aficionado magazine. They were the only authority in the business. There was no blogs. There was nothing. And so I just would, in my spare time, I would like copy addresses and contacts and write letters to every one of these companies, pitching myself for a job. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just somebody that liked cigars. And then, I mean, I got rejection letters. Most people didn't even give me the time of day. I even wrote Cigar Aficionado magazine itself and pitched myself as their Southeastern correspondent. And they were like, Gordon Mott, God bless him, sent me a very nice letter saying no. And anyway, so the last ad in that magazine, ironically, was for a company called C.A.O. International at 830 Kendall Drive in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. And I looked at it and I'm like, oh my God, what are the odds that there's one of these companies is here in Nashville? So I cold called the place. I said, what's the owner's name? Sent him a letter, heard nothing. And I was like, I'd almost like just kind of given up. I tried to go back to that cigar shop to get a job as a clerk, working retail. They said, no, we don't need you. They're pretty rude about it, actually. And I mean, I couldn't get arrested in the business. And then like 4 months later, I got a phone call and a voicemail on my office phone. And it was from Jon Huber. I'm like, who is this guy? I couldn't remember who's this. And it was to work at C.A.O. And so I went in, I interviewed with him. And he's like, you know, we're just getting started here. I don't know that I really need any help, but you seemed like you were interested. I don't know what you could do. And he goes, I do need some help shipping. I said, I'll do that. You know, just pay me what I'm making at this temp job and give me a chance and see what happens. And he did. And so I quit this temp job like the next day and started with C.A.O. And then I was very enthusiastic about the company. And behind the scenes, I started promoting the company unbeknownst to them. And one day I was working out at my house and I heard this KDF radio, which is a big rock format station here at the time. They were like, and our prize package giveaway today is going to be 2 tickets to this prize fight. And then we're going to include a box of cigars. And I was like, bing, I heard like box of cigars. Called the radio station and I said, hey, I just heard you guys promoting this prize and you box of cigars. Where are you getting the cigars from? They're like, we don't know. We just thought it'd be a cool thing that kind of went hand in hand with watching a boxing fight on closed circuit. I said, I'll get you the cigars. The inherent value of the cigars is $250. Just threw out the number. I said, and all I want in return is just a couple of spots plugging the company. Here's the company's name. Deal. Done. Okay, cool. So when they would roll those spots, I would record it on a cassette. And then I called the station back and said, look, cigars are really popular right now. We're in the middle of a cigar boom. This was 96. I said, you need somebody to come in and do like a drive time show. And they're like, would you want to do it? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it once a week. Let's go. And then, so I did that for like about 4 or 5 weeks where I'd come in for 15 minutes on like a Wednesday morning. And they'd be like, hey, I got the cigar guy here and we're going to take some calls and blah, blah, blah. And I did that. So like 2 months into this, I come back with these little cassette tapes. I pop them into this little, boom box. And I go to John's office and I play this. And he's hearing the radio spots and he's hearing the cigar guy. And he's like, who is this guy? This guy's really good. We should hire him. We should go get him. Who is this guy? I said, it's me. And he was like, you're kidding. I said, no, I'm not kidding. And then he said, oh, that's it. He goes, this is what you should be doing. You were terrible at shipping. You're now in charge of promotions and public relations. And that's how that was the first start. And then I just, from that point, just started working my way up further and further. And the company got more and more successful to the point where they sold.
So when you were with C.A.O, you work with Rick Rodriguez together, right? How long you guys worked together? No? Oh, you did not?
That's so funny. Rick Rodriguez didn't come into the pic. This I'm talking about 96. I started with
okay,
C.A.O.
yeah.
C.A.O was acquired by STG in like 2007.
Yeah.
STG was then, or excuse me, by Henry Wintermans. Henry Wintermans was then acquired by STG in like 2010. And then at the end of that year, everybody was like, they just dismantled the whole company, and that was it. And then the new regime going forward was Rick Rodriguez and all those guys.
Oh,
because
gotcha.
Rick was with General, and General was part of STG. So this was all before Rick. But I can't tell you how many times people said, "Oh, so you know Rick Rodriguez?" I'm like, Rick Rodriguez was C.A.O. because we were C.A.O.
Wow.
You know, for a decade before that.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's how it went. Yeah, and then I remember. I mean, it was sad because I mean we had built such a great team at C.A.O. We were all like family. We really were. And I had some of the best times of my life working at that company, traveling with the guys, and just they were more like brothers. We were like brothers than anything. And then when the acquisition comes, and then people start like trying to protect their own stuff, and then there's a lot of backbiting. It was a really ugly time. And they offered a few of us jobs to go to Richmond to go work with the new company. And you know, I think one or two guys took it. They offered me a job. They, do you want to move to Richmond? I'm like, no. And they're like, we'll give it a week or whatever, and then think about it. I said, no, I'm not going. You can go fuck yourself. I'm not leaving. And that was literally about how the conversation went. And I was like, have a nice day. And I got up, and that was my exit interview later. So
didn't you, back to your beginnings in doing something with your hand? Maybe I heard it wrong, or maybe was it your grandfather that was doing a lot like gardening and stuff like that, or
I was just talking to somebody about that. I was talking to my daughter about it. Yeah, no, when I was a little kid, my grandparents raised me. And so my grandfather was like my father. I didn't know any difference. I was just like, he was like everything to me. And then when I was probably like, I would say I was probably 6 or 7, on the weekends I would go. We had this little small garden in the back, like a vegetable garden. He would always show me how to turn the soil, plant, water. I'd be responsible for watering stuff, digging all this stuff. And, you know, it was pretty labor intensive, but I loved it. I loved getting like dirt on my hands, and, you know, and then he would like, I remember he always had this can of Olympia beer at the end of it, and he put a little salt in the beer. And I just loved the way that tasted. So I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I was drinking my first beer. Yeah. It's just a little bit crazy to talk about now, but it was just like a taste. And he was like, I thought it was like a big deal. But yeah, so that whole sense of like appreciating agriculture and the earth and the terroir and everything, I give credit to my grandfather for that. So now it's kind of like full circle. Now I get to kind of be involved in a small way with that. That's my favorite part of the business, is the agricultural aspect of it, of being at the factory level and seeing how everything was grown and cultivated and processed and fermented, and everything, the balloons are turned. That was like my happy place. And then I had to give that up right after COVID. I just couldn't travel anymore, just for family reasons. And that's been a big sacrifice. But you know, if somebody says, do you miss traveling to go do like an in-store promotion or event? I'm like, no, not really. But I do miss going to the factories, because I love just being out in the farms and stuff like that.
Yeah, when I heard you say that, it struck with me, because I got into cigars because of my grandfather. My grandfather, he died at a really young age for me. But I can remember when he was alive, he would take me he ran a bar. He'd take me down to the bar. He'd light up a cigar, put me on the bar stool, and say, sit there. And you know, and I can remember getting pop out of a little glass, and he would sit there and suck on a cigar the whole day. And when I got to the age of smoking cigars, I'm like, I want to try this. And I was hooked ever since. And my mom and everybody will be like, why? I said, I just remember my grandfather always smoking cigars. Yeah. And it was just something and it's sort of, every time I light up a cigar, I just think about him. And I barely knew him. I think he died. I think it was 7 or 8 years old when he died, but I knew him enough to go, it's just sort of that memory that always just draws me back to it. So when you were talking about your grandfather and doing the work with him, I'm like, that sort of relates to where I was at with starting to smoke and stuff like that.
Yeah. He never smoked or smoked cigars or anything, but it was the the gardening, turning the soil and all that kind of thing that kind of always stuck with me a little bit. But yeah, I miss them dearly every day.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, unless you guys got something else, I want to dive into the box. Jon, you broke my rule on this podcast. I've talked about not buying a box of cigars this year. I didn't want to buy a box of cigars this year. And the Moonflower hit. In hearing about it, I sought this sucker out. I had to go to 3 or 4 different websites before I finally found it to where I could pre-order it. So I've got a pre-order of the Moonflower in. I've heard you talk about it, but for our viewers, talk about, first of all, the concept, the whole idea, because I love you talking about where this idea came from and who it came from, and then we can go from there.
Well, I'll take you back to like 2015, and in 2014, I started working with the Garcia family at my father's cigars. I'd met them before through a mutual friend, Pete Johnson, who was very instrumental in everything I've done. So in 2014, I told Pete, I said, hey, can I come back down there again? And he set it up. And so I went down with him and Yanni in January of 14. And that's when we started the ball rolling with the Garcias at my father. Out of that one weekend that we spent down there became Las Calaveras, Tennessee Waltz, and Jericho Hill. Well, we hit the ground running pretty fast, got a lot of momentum very quickly, and probably grew too fast because by the end of 2015, I was told like, hey, we're not going to do any new brands or whatever. This is pretty much it for you. And then we'll continue to do what we've done to this point, but we got to control the growth. The last thing that we ever tried to do was a brand called Las Mareas. And that for me was like this was the best cigar we've done, and this is going to light the world on fire, and we're good. It was 100% Garcia grown tobacco. And it came about because when in 2015, I was down at the factory, and Don Pepin showed me a hand of tobacco. It was just he and I sitting in his conference room, and he shows me his hand of tobacco. I'm like, oh my God, that is gorgeous. And I'm trying to communicate. So I bring in a translator. Basically, he's telling me, hey, this is Corojo tobacco that I'm growing in Namanhi on my farm. Do you want to do something with this? If you don't, I understand, and I'll give it to Pete. And I'm like, no, I'm here. I want it. That became Las Mareas. So I went into the trade show that year thinking, oh, Las Mareas is going to be the pinnacle of what we've ever done. It was 100% Nicaraguan tobacco. All the tobaccos are made from the Garcia families on their farms. And the brand came, and it just never got traction, and it died. We had to just basically rationalize it. Over the years, like a lot of people are like, why are you going to bring Mareas back? Mareas was awesome. What happened to that brand? Blah, 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 blah. And so I knew in my heart that cigar was just ahead of its times, that given another chance that we could probably do something with it. So now I fast forward to 2025. I go meet the Garcias. I had a meeting with them at the PCA show, and I said, I know they haven't let me do anything new in forever, but I'm going to fucking shoot my shot. So I went in there, I sat down, I said, I know maybe what the answer is going to be. Who's got the dog?
I do.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have 2 that always want to be on air. I have 2 Saint Berdoodles. There's 2 Saint Berdoodles. So Saint Bernard Poodle mixes. So
are they like big like a Saint Bernard?
They're 70 pounds. No, they're 70. Yeah. She'll pop her head in here at some point. Yeah. Yeah.
I got their head in. Yeah. Oh my God. I love my dogs. That's so cool. Anyway, yeah. So if they're around, just have them come say hi. What are their names? The dogs' names?
Lola and Reba.
Lola and Reba. Reba McIntyre?
Reba, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And Lola's after my wife's grandmother. So yeah, but yeah, Reba was literally after Reba McIntyre. So yeah,
I bring one of my dogs, Leo. He comes in with me twice a week.
That's your dog's name? That was my dog's name. We had to put
Leo?
him. Yes, Leo. Yeah. I had a pit bull. Named Leo.
My Leo he's part. We did the DNA test because we rescued him from the shelter. So we did a DNA. He's 58% Bichon Frise and 24% pit bull. And then like 12% Australian sheepdog or whatever. He's awesome. I love that dog. Awesome, and then we just adopted another dog. My wife wanted a small dog again, so we got a Yorkshire Terrier, and his name's Cash, and he's a little madman. But anyway, I know I got off on a topic, but I'd rather.
No, it's okay. Yorkies are crazy. Yeah, Yorkies are
crazy. That dog is nuts, man.
Yeah, the Yorkies are crazy.
There's dogs that walk in my neighborhood that are just like these big old fucking and he'll be like, ah,
yeah.
I'm like, dude, that dog will crush you, and he just like doesn't care, man. He bit, like, we have a pest guy that comes in once a month, and the dude was in there, and he's like, Cash came up to him, he's like, oh, dude, and Cash bit him. He's just like, fucking bit his leg. I'm like, dude, I am so sorry. You know, what are you going to do? Anyway, so Marias, so yeah, they came and went, but I knew that blend had some potential. So I shot my shot with the Garcias. I said, look, I'm going to ask you may say no, but I want to do a new regular production brand at 26 with you guys. And I want to expand Tennessee Waltz into a 3-size regular production brand, not limited to anything. And they were like, okay. I was like, yeah. I'm like, let's go. They said, but you got to tell me what you want in the tobaccos of the cigar. What's your idea? What's your concept? Because we have to reserve the tobacco. I said, what do you want it right now? I'll sign off on it. I told him I want a Corolla wrapper. I want a Nicaraguan binder filler. Give me some blends. Let's go. And so that was the blend inspiration for it. And so this would be our first regular production release with the Garcias in over a decade. But the brand inspiration I felt had to be special. And I don't know how I came about, why it hit me this way, but I was like, I want to call it Moonflower. And everybody's like, what? And I said, Moonflower is like, it's something that I never knew what it was until I met my wife. When I started dating my wife, I would go over to her house, and she was always been an avid gardener, and she used to grow these beautiful flowers, but they only opened up at night. Mm-hmm. During the day, they were like this, and then at night, they had these beautiful white blooms. And she explained, those are moonflowers. You never seen? I said, no. I said, you introduced me to something brand new I never knew existed. So that over the years became kind of like a special thing between Laura and I, the moonflowers, and then I started to learn that they symbolize like overcoming dark times in our lives, and something everybody can relate to. Yeah. And then about, I guess, 4 years ago or so, I had 2 of them tattooed on my hand, 2 moonflowers with her name, one for her, one for me. And so it's always been there in front of me. And I just thought, this is going to be kind of like my little, not tribute to her, because I already did a cigar that I kind of like. We did an Ohio exclusive because she's born in Ohio. It's called Buckeye Land. Her maiden name is Land. Anyway, but that was the inspiration for the brand, was moonflowers, what they mean symbolically, and then also what they meant to me as a person in my marriage. And now I'll write like on cards. I love you, moonflowers back there. You go. Who's that?
Oh,
that's Mia.
Mia, hi baby, what's happening?
Oh, this is so pretty.
Australian Shepherd in there somewhere?
Yeah, she's our Australian Shepherd.
Aww.
Then we got another rescue hound dog.
Rescues are the best, man. I never would go to a breeder. Every dog I've ever had has been a rescue.
I think that's what I'm gonna do next. This is because I always was going to that's what I think I'm gonna do, because I'll be going to a breeder all this year. So
hey, dude, you go into for like months. We would go into the Humane Association where we live and visit the dogs and stuff, and it break your heart, man. Like I'd want to buy a house with a farm just to have them.
Here's the other one.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's beautiful eyes, Marty.
Look at his eyes, man.
Yeah, she's got those beautiful blue eyes. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
That's Bella.
Nice.
Bella.
She's beautiful.
You cutie.
Going back to boxes, and I want to really thank you, because when I first started smoking cigars back in 2017, I have done it twice. La Imperiosa from you is one of my favorite cigars from you, top 1. Like,
thank you.
I just love that cigar, man. So I want to thank you for that.
It's a great cigar.
That's a great cigar, dude.
That's the OG Las Calaveras blend.
Really?
Like the very first Las Calaveras we came out with was in 2014, and that kind of set us off. Was the Kickstarter basically. And then in 2015, that's why I released Imperiosa, because I was like, well, shit, if it was that good, let's make it a regular production brand.
Yeah.
And I kept telling the story over and over. I said, you can stop chasing the limited edition. This is the same blend. And I got met with a lot of backlash. Like some people were pissed off that it made it regular production. Some people like it doesn't taste anything like it. Blah 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 blah. A lot of negative criticism, but I always believed in that cigar because I thought it was so good. And now that we've redesigned it, rebranded it, the sales have been like through the roof on it. And it's nice to see like new people, discovering La Imperiosa for the first time.
Talking about Las Calaveras. So, how do you come every year with just a new idea for a new blend? Like, how do you do it?
The whole thing started off really as an annual homage to people that passed away the year before.
Okay.
That's what the idea, the concept was to pay tribute. There's always a set of initials on the side of each band on the coins. So you never run short of people that die. Gotcha. Unfortunately, it's a sad kind of a thing, but it was mostly done to pay tribute to them as opposed to being mournful. It was going to be like more of a celebration of life type of a thing. And I really never knew it was going to go past 2014. I thought we were going to do it once and that was it. And then we did it in 2015 and then 16. And I just kept changing the blend continually with the Garcias. I said, okay, it's been a while since we did whatever. Let's go back and let's try this. Let's try that. And so you're never at a shortage. Thank you so much. You're never at a shortage of blends or variations. And you certainly aren't at a shortage of people that passed away, unfortunately. So it's not that difficult. It's something that I've enjoyed doing, but this is the first year, 2026 is the first year we won't be doing it since 2014.
That's why I wanted to ask you if you're going to continue, because I got in my hands the 2025 that I have in the shop. But okay, so you're not going to come out with 2026. Okay.
No, it's gonna do something similar. I might as well just tell you guys. No, because we're gonna announce it in like about 3 weeks.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Hey.
So there won't be any Las Calaveras. I decided that I wanted to take a year off and just give it some room to breathe. But 2 years ago, we did a cigar called Décimo Aniversario, and Décimo was the original 2014 Las Calaveras blend. And we did that in a one size 10th anniversary type of a thing. And that was Décimo Aniversario. And that sold out like that. And so I got a ton of feedback. Like, why don't you just bring back Décimo? That blend is so good. That cigar is so good. And so I was like, let's take a year off from Calaveras. Let's do another Décimo release in 3 different sizes, 10 count boxes, small production. So that's going to be what we're going to do, and that's that slot instead of a traditional Las Calaveras.
It's good. Good idea.
I'll show you the packaging. Keep going.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, this is just from the factory. They take the worst freaking pictures, man. This is the Vista.
Oh wow.
Beautiful.
Nice.
And then that's going to be the ring, and it'll be in 3 different. Yeah, it's going to be 3 different sizes. Same blend as the 24, which is the 14 blend.
Are you planning releasing it this fall?
No, it'll be out. I would say if it's not out in July, it'll be very early August.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, we started working on this quite a while ago, actually, and last year. So yeah, we're going to announce it. I wanted to give some time for all the other stuff to kind of get out in the wild, like all Tim's stuff that he's doing. And then the Moonflower, and then take a little bit of a breather, and then say, oh, now we're coming out with Décimo Aniversario. It's still, even though those are also big projects, this will probably be our biggest project of the year, would be Décimo. It's only going to be like, I think I did the math, 75,000 cigars, which sounds like a lot, but compared to the production of a traditional Las Calaveras, which is usually about 110 to 130,000, it's a much smaller production. So it'll be good. I'm excited for it.
Absolutely. Now, one of the best interviews, and I know all 3 of us were on this interview watching this at the same time, was your interview at PCA with Pete Johnson.
Great interview.
That I thought
with Boveda.
Yeah,
with Boveda. Yeah.
I thought that was just I mean,
that's the second time Pete and I have done that with Boveda. We did it again. Really? We did it the first time, like 5-6 years ago. And then it's funny because back in the day, we used to we'd always run into each other. We'd be like, hey, what's going on? we'd have dinner together, we'd smoke together, we'd run around the floor together. And then he obviously got busy with Tatuaje. I got busy with Crowned Heads. And so when Bo would ask me to come over to do the interview, I said, yeah, we're going to do it with you and Pete. I'm like, fine, I get to see him. Like, so we sat down, we're getting mic'd up, and I'm like, dude, I have to sit down and do this to actually get to see you again. He's like laughing. He's like, no, it's crazy. Yeah, I could do that. I could have been a 3-hour interview because we could have gone on and on.
Oh, dude, it was an incredible interview. I loved it.
It's funny because we were all sort of, I don't know why we were all on at the same time, but we're all like, are you watching this interview? And we were like stuck to the screen just to listen to you guys. And it's good. Yeah. So did I hear you correctly? Or maybe it was Pete. I'm not sure which one of you. Did you push back on limited editions? Were you sort of anti-limited editions for a while?
Yeah, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. In fact, there's one of the very first interviews I ever did. I remember it was on our website, but I remember saying emphatically, like, I don't want to do limited editions. I just want to build brands and It sounded like a very noble pursuit. And then you get to a realization where you need to develop some sort of financial stream. Mm-hmm. And I did it basically as a necessity. And then the necessity became a real necessity to I called it the blueprint with Mike Condor, because we had some private VC money coming in, and we had set up a business plan, and we were like, okay, this is what we're going to need to get to here. And what was promised fell far short, and the person just backed out and said, no, I'm done. And then we're like sitting there going, oh, how are we going to get to this point? So like all the pressures on me to like come up with like ideas. And so that's how Las Calaveras came about. That's how Mule Kit came about. That's how Bella Costa Fino, all these seasonal releases happened like once a quarter, so that it would get us over the hump to get us to this point, so that we can drop this, so that we can go to the PCA, and then we can increase revenue. So yeah, it's not something it's fun to do, but I wish I could just be like the Padrones or something and just build brands. But my name isn't Padrone, so I have to do it a different way. You know?
Yeah, no, it's when I heard that, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. You know, it's nice you understand, and the more and more I listen to you and talk to you and read about stuff, you definitely have a different vision. And I know that was the other thing I heard on one of the podcasts, that you guys took some time to put a whole vision together for Crowned Heads before you even launched the company. So it's nice to go, hey, we're not just going to launch a company and jump into it. We're sort of going to make sure that it fits what we want it to fit, and not just.
Yeah. I think that, at the time I was like, come on, man, let's just go do this, and Mike, my business partner at the time, he was very adamant about, no, we have to get the philosophy statement lined up, because then if we do everything according to this philosophy, then everything will fall in line. And I'm like, and we literally were like in somebody's basement with whiteboard paper for like 3 weeks and writing all this stuff out. And then we kind of culled it down to like actually written into that same thing that's on our website, where it says about us and the philosophy and all that.
Yeah.
But that was a very important step. And it made me realize going about it slowly and patiently and methodically is a lot better than just going, let's just go get a cigar and let's get out there, And even when we announced the company in February of 2011, the formation of the company, we didn't know it was going to make the cigars or anything. We just said, hey, these two guys from C.A.O are going to make a company, and it's called Crowned Heads. And literally that day, as soon as that story hit in Cigar Aficionado, they put it in Insider, I think, I got a phone call from like a very famous person in the business. I'll just say that. And they're like, hey, who's making the cigar for you, man? This sounds really exciting. I'm like, I have no idea. He's like, I got it. I already have a blend. All you got to do is come up with a cool name, and we'll put a band on it. You'll make $1 million. And I'm like, I was like, yeah, okay, we'll get back to you. And like, that is exactly what I did not want to do. I didn't want to I'd seen it already. Here's 3 samples, pick one, we'll put it in this pretty box and we'll make $1 million. I didn't want to do that. I really wanted to do it from the ground up. And that's why one of the reasons why we went with Ernesto, because Ernesto Perez Carrillo told me, he's like, look, at that time, he wasn't doing a contract brand for anybody. He was only doing his own cigars. And so it was a long shot to even get him to agree to do it, but he agreed to do it. And he said, but he goes, I remember how he used the analogy. you're going to have to come down here. I'll teach you how to build the car, but I will not just sell you a car off the lot. And I'm like, you and I are on the same page, my friend.
Yeah.
And so I give him a lot of credit for that. So I went back, I went to grad school, essentially. I went down to the factory. He was like the Karate Kid where, you know, wax on, wax off. He's like teaching me how to validate tobacco. He's teaching me the difference between this farm and this farm, even though they're both in Esteli. This tastes different. Why does this taste different? Tell me the difference. Does it feel thick or does it feel thin? All of these things. And so I've really got a crash course in the fundamentals of cigar making, not just picking out a blend from 3 different sample cigars and saying, okay, let's put it in that cool box over there. You know, that's what I was used to. And it was not what I wanted to do. And so I give Ernie a lot of that credit. So.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
How long did that process take where you were learning all this and absorbing it and to the point where you felt like you had mastered it?
I have never mastered it. If anybody tells you they mastered this process, they're lying to you. I am not a master by any stretch of the imagination, but I got around enough knowledge to know that, like, now if somebody gives me a blend and says, here it is, and I go, okay, it needs a little roundness, a little sweetness, I'll be like, okay, take that C.A.O from Esteli and change it with the Viso from Malapa, that kind of a thing. It took me about 6 months of really working on all the nuances to get to the 4 Kicks blend that became 4 Kicks. But it took a lot of time. It took a lot of time and a lot of patience and a lot of, like, why are we, you know, doing this, Ernie? What, you know? And now I understand why. That's cool. But yeah, I've not mastered it. There's still, you know, I still always say that, like, the factories we work with make us look better than what we are. You know, I mean, you're only as good as the people producing the cigar.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So I got a question because it came up during the Boveda interview. Did you give them this picture for
the panda?
I love that picture.
I love that. I do
awesome.
too. I wish somebody would use it. Yeah, no. Did I?
You should give it to Boveda for their wall. You should.
No, they already did. They picked out a different picture for the wall.
Oh, that's you.
So it was a little
that's
bit more.
The epitome of you.
I love it. Well, you know, that came about was Brooks Whittington from Half Wheel. For, you know, he used to do these portraits of different cigar industry people, and really great photographer. I mean, Brooks is a very talented photographer. I loved his black and white work. And he came up to me at the show years ago, and he says, I want to do a portrait of you. I want to do you. And I always felt like I wasn't worthy. And I said, but, you know, if you did do it, I would do it if I could use a mascot head. And he just looked at me like I was like weird. But it's not an original idea. Kanye West did it on the College Dropout.
Yes,
album.
yeah.
He's on the front. That's where the idea came. It was like, and then in the back of the album, he's holding the thing like this, and he's taking the head off. So that's where the idea came, was from Kanye West. And so then years later, I think it was JR gave me my first actual cover by myself, and they said, we need you to shoot some photos. So I got a local photographer. I show up with like different stuff and one T-shirt and a panda head, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing with the panda head?" Just humor me. We're gonna do some shots with the panda head. So I sent the panda head as for the cover of JR, and they didn't do it. Yeah, that's nice. We're not gonna use that. So.
Well, Marty, you can use that one and try to make him look more mafioso. We'll use that for our advertising.
Turn the panda head into the Blues Brothers panda.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, just tell AI to do it. They'll make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always wanted it. Hopefully somebody uses it at some point in time and gets the humor in it. I think it's cool. I love the Kanye West College Dropout thing. So
it's just a great picture. I mean, it's just very, I don't know.
Good photographer.
It doesn't seem comical. It just seems like it's just very chill. So I love it.
Yeah, he took a bunch of those that, like, with the head on and with the head in my arm, and then he had one with like a crown on the panda head for Crowned Heads. And Kurt's an awesome photographer. And it's funny, the guy that shot those pictures he just won best touring artist guitarist for the CMA Awards. Kurt
Really?
Ozen. Yeah, like that's the craziest story, but so Kurt used to DM me and say, "Hey man, I'm in Nashville and I like photography and I'm a big fan of what you're doing. And if you ever need some photos, I'll do it for free. Here's some photos for you." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. You know, we're all, whatever." And then when JR told me they needed photos, I reached back out. "Hey Kurt, do you still want to do photos? I need a photographer." Yeah, let's do it. So I go over to his house in East Nashville. I didn't know who he was. And I met him for the first time and I see all these guitars around and everything. I said, "You must like guitars." And he said, yeah, it's kind of like my day job. I said, "Okay, cool." And he's like, "Yeah, in fact, I just got back from Ireland this past weekend. I'm still kind of tired." But I'm like, "Ireland?" "Yeah, we had like a stadium show in Ireland. We paid like for 60,000 people." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, he was so low key modest about everything. He's the guitar player for Luke Combs. So,
Okay.
and I
Nice.
had no idea. I didn't even really know who Luke Combs was. And I was like, "Okay, well, that's cool." But he wanted to talk more about cigars and what I did. And I'm like, but then I just saw him the other day. He won this award from the CMA Awards that he was picked as the best touring artist. And I was like, that's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah,
He's a cool dude.
We might all be in the Nashville area come August or September. We have a good friend of ours who's opening up a lounge in Nashville.
Yeah.
He's opening up a cigar lounge in Nashville.
Yes.
So
Tell me more about this lounge. Like, I think I might know what this is. Is it by a steakhouse or something or no?
I just asked him. I just literally just sent him a
hotel?
message asking him for the address. I just asked him for the address.
I've heard
he's
rumblings
moving
about somebody in a hotel, like in a hotel lobby somewhere, but I don't know if this is the same project or
not.
not.
No. It's a building. He's actually moving.
Okay.
Well, he's not moving. He's originally from Indiana. He's moving to Tennessee, opening a lounge. We'll get you more information for sure.
Well, if you guys come down, you got to come by and we'll sit here and smoke a cigar or two.
Oh, absolutely.
That would be
by
awesome.
all means. Yeah, man, that'd be cool. Nashville, somebody just asked me this 2 days ago. What's the climate like for Nashville cigar smoking? I'm like, it's very, very robust. I mean, there's every other day, there's somebody opening a new shop, a new lounge, a new this, a new that. Very cigar centric place. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was cool because I was down there, gosh, I forget how many years. Well, it was probably 18 years ago. 18 years ago this past, for CMA.
You will not recognize. That's when it used to be called Fanfare.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
Back then it was Fanfare. Now it's CMA Fest. I live here. I don't even recognize it when I go downtown. It's just changed so much. It's insane.
Yeah.
The growth and the development. And now we're building a new $1 billion stadium for the Titans, and Super Bowl's coming here in 2030. And it's so different than when I moved here. It's in good ways and bad ways though. But you're going to be in for a surprise when you come down.
Yeah, Tennessee's growing. Tennessee's growing.
Too much.
Yeah. Oh,
too much, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well,
yeah.
I've been to, I tell somebody, I was in Pigeon Forge 25, 30 years ago when it was all dirt. I mean, it wasn't what it is today. And people I go, "Oh yeah, there was nothing here." I said, there was a couple of helicopter spots you go on tours, but that was it. I mean, everything else was just plain fields. And they're like, "Holy cow." I said, "Yeah." I said, if I would have known then what I know now, I'd be a millionaire. I could have bought some of that land for next to nothing.
I feel that way about 30A down in the Gulf Coast, down in the Gulf, 30A, which is like from like where people like Santa Rosa Beach, and then it goes down to Destin, then it goes down to that area. But there's a strip called 30A, which is like Seaside and all these different little communities. And when I first moved down here, people would go down there. It was kind of like a best kept secret, and you could nobody wanted any of these properties on the beach or anything. It was just very barren. Now you can't touch a house down there for like less than probably $8 or $9 million.
It's crazy. So it's a huge difference between where you were till Tennessee, right? Huge difference. Yeah.
I left. The reasons why I left California. Now this has kind of become like LA 2.0. To be honest, like when I lived in LA, it was like everybody wanted to be actor, model, musician, entertainer. Everybody was like waiting tables to try to sell their scripts and all that kind of shit. And I was just like, you got to be just too much, man. And I come out here, and now it's the same thing. Now everybody's waiting tables so they can be the next songwriter, singer, music star. And I'm like, oh God. It's like, and people everywhere from California, they're coming to Nashville, New York, Nashville.
Yeah.
So they're bringing all of those things that I try to run away from to Nashville. So I can't get away from it, you know?
Well, that's awesome. It's awesome. And if you know, I know you're holding on to that video from, again, you talked about it during the Bovida thing. I can't wait for that thing to come out. The interview, the whole documentary that was about, what is it? The roll, what is it called? The name of it? You talked about it during the Bovida.
Oh, hand rolled.
Hand rolled. I was gonna call it rolled.
Oh, dude, that's Pete's thing. That's not my thing.
I know.
I had like a really. They sent his guys out here, Jesse, and they came out literally for a day and took over our warehouse and shut everything down. We stopped shipping. Like, I'm telling you, we filmed, like, they put me on a stool with all these lights and shit and everything. I felt like I was being interrogated. And we spent easily 5 or 6 hours of just them grilling me, story after story, this, that. And then when they send me the final cut, I'm on there for like 30 seconds. I text Jesse, I'm like, you guys flew all the way from California. We spent 5 hours doing this shit. You lugged all that equipment and for 30 seconds, bro. And he's like, yeah, that's kind of what we do. And I'm like, oh my God.
The cutting room floor.
I know. So I'm in there, but not that long. But I can't wait for people to see that. I mean, it's just, for me, it brought back a lot of good memories of being in like that cigar golden era for me. Mm-hmm. That's when I mean, you know, I go from like nothing, reading about all this shit in a magazine, and then I'm thrust in the middle of it, and I'm like meeting my heroes, and I'm like, you know, like, it's just, the whole thing was a mind-blowing experience to me. And then to relive it through that documentary was like really fucking cool to me. It was really cool. So yeah, I'm excited for people to see it. I hope he releases it. He's done so much good stuff for this industry. Pete Johnson, yeah. He really has. He's hopefully a friend. He's a mentor.
Yeah, hopefully we can get him on soon. We got to line him up. Our summer's filled up fast. Yeah, so
he likes to talk. I've seen him do some stuff. He did. We sponsor a podcast called Down to Earth, and I remember he was on there for like 3 hours one night, and they were just drinking. They were all like getting boozy or whatever. And so I texted the guy at Down to Earth, and I'm like, dude, you know, Pete could have. I checked the flights, and he could have flown from Miami to where you guys are, and been in the studio in the same amount of time that you had him on there for 3 fucking hours. And he's just like laughing. I was busting his balls. But yeah, Pete can talk. He's got some great stories, and I got great stories about Pete. Like, he's one of these individuals that, like, you know, people talk about smoking blind and whatever. If you laid out 4 or 5 Cuban cigars back in the day, he could, without the band on them, he could look at them, sometimes not even have to light them, and he would get at least 4 right. He could tell you exactly what those cigars were. That's how much knowledge that guy had about Cuban cigars. And he could probably do the same thing now with the domestic stuff, but he is he's one of a kind. Pete's a rare breed. He's a good dude.
So you're very like you're really huge on Vitolas. You have one of the, you know, great cigar sizes out there. You don't make many of 60 gauge, do you? In your cigars? Zero. That's what I want to get to a point. Tell us more about what's the reason, because I don't know. Mike it's against 60 gauge. We know that. Marty sometimes smokes. Sometimes I smoke some 60 gauges, but I cannot do it. You know, there's a lot of clientele out there that they're smoking the 60 gauges. How you approach to that? What's your answer to why you're not making 60 gauge cigars?
For years, I said I've never been a fan. I thought they were like kind of gimmicky, and I felt like there's a difference between a cigar and a stogie. Like, people say, "Oh, that's a stogie." Well, that, to me, like, it's those big fat 60 ring gauge cigars. That's a stogie. And I just, from a practical standpoint, when you're blending, that the ratio of wrapper to binder filler is so negated, and the airflow is so. It's like you're just getting air. You don't have the intensity and the focused flavor profile that you do in, say, a 48 or even a 50 ring gauge. So I've never been a fan of 60s. And then when we hired my, who's now the VP of sales, Miguel, for years, after we hired him, he'd be like, "We need a 60 ring gauge. It's selling. It's hot. You know, a sales guy is going to tell you what to do to make money.
Yeah.
But a cigar guy is going to tell you what to do for the art and the craft, and they don't necessarily always intersect. So he was after me for years to do a 60, and I was just like, I said, all right, I'll tell you what, Miguel, I'll let you run this. You do use, we had a blend called Luminoso, which is a Connecticut, Ecuador cigar that we threw out in 2016. And basically I said, you pick the blend, you do a 60 as a limited edition. And if it moves, I will put it in the portfolio. But I have a feeling it's not going to be successful because I think I know my customer better than you do, even though you're in sales, but have at it. So he's like, okay, I want to do a Luminoso Gigante 66 by 60. Fair, do it. We took it to the show. It shit the bed. Came back here. We had pallets this high of these fucking cigars. And every other week I would take a picture and text him and say, here's your project. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. And it failed. And I never wanted to do it again. I do not like 60 gauge cigars. It just doesn't work. I mean, 56 is even a stretch for me. And I just do that to kind of make Miguel happy and say, okay, here's your big ring gauge without doing a 60. But I'm not. Our best selling size, if you look at all the analytics in which we do, is 6 by 54 by far. It's our across any brand. 654 is our best selling size, and it's called a Toro, even though traditional Toro is like a 652, maybe even down to 650. But everything is just so out of whack. Everyone's big, big, big. And to me, if I had my way, I would make everything from a Corona or even a Corona, Corona Gorda, maybe like a Corona Extra. Everything would be like 42, 44, 46, 48. And then maybe I'd top off at a 50 with a Robusto or something, but it doesn't sell. So I can't do what I want to do and still pay everybody.
It fascinates me, and we talked about it before previous episodes, that people that they smoke bigger gauge, they think they give it the most flavor, but it's not true. You're gonna get more flavor from a Corona Gorda, from a Toro, from Robusto, 100% from El Lancero. And that's what I brought this question up, because I love that you don't do 60s, because like I said, it's whoever smokes over 60, like somebody that smokes a 70 gauge, it's like crazy to me. It's like you're not getting more flavor. You're not.
I'll give you a great example. We just did in our Broadway line, which I love. Broadway. I think that blend is special.
It's beautiful.
I did a 5 by 44 Corona for Creekside as a limited run for them. And I smoked that cigar, and everybody that has smoked that cigar said this is the best smoking size of the brand. It's better than the Epicure. It's better than the Robusto Extra. It's better than the Toro. And it was a 5 by 44 Corona with a closed foot, and they are fucking amazing. They were great. I hope we get to do some more for those guys. And it just came about just on a goofy idea. I was in their Discord, and the guys in their Discords were big Broadway fans. They're like, make a Corona for us. I was like, okay. And so it was from their Discord, and I made it a Corona. So that's why I nicknamed it Dis Corona. And when Dave at Creekside, I texted him, I said, you want to do this? He's like, yeah. I said, all right, here's your Dis Corona. And he laughed, but the name stuck. And they sold it out. And it's just a phenomenal cigar. But that's a perfect example of why you can get more flavor out of a smaller cigar than a larger format cigar. I'm not a fan of the 60s.
Yeah, it's a different game. It's a different game for all this cigar consumers out there that are smoking this stuff. But I just really want to thank you. Like, you're one of the least brands that I never had a Crowned Heads cigar, and I'm not trying, because we have you as a special guest here. You're the only company that say, okay, I've tried everything from Crowned Heads. I never say something, I don't like this one. I don't like this one.
And that's okay if you didn't. I mean,
absolutely.
I that's totally fine. I mean, like everybody has their own opinion, and I respect it. And not every cigar we make is for everybody. And that's okay. I mean, the way I go about it is I try to make the cigars something that I really feel positive about, that I love. I don't make it to fill a niche or whatever. I want to make something that I enjoy and hope that somebody else out there enjoys it as well. But when you start trying to make stuff that you think, oh, it's going to sell, this is hot, I've seen that so much, and it usually doesn't work out really well. And I think you just have to, and it's impossible for me to get behind it as a brand owner, because if I don't believe in it, why would I want to convince anybody else to believe in it? It's the same thing. Like I've had people in the past, they approached me about expanding the brand into spirits. I had a guy that wanted to do a whiskey and call it Crowned Heads Whiskey. And I thought it's a good name, but I don't drink. So it's like, I can't sit there and say, hey, buy this whiskey, because I can't with any kind of integrity endorse something that I don't enjoy or use. So
nice. I didn't know you don't drink.
Yeah, I got too good at it. It's not like I never drank. It's like I drank to excess. And I got to in the C.A.O days with all my mates at the company, and we went at it pretty hard, to the point where one of our guys, he was 42 when he drank himself to death.
Yeah.
And literally cirrhosis of the liver. Called me one week. I said, I thought you were supposed to be sober, man. And he's like, yeah, I'm good, dude. I'm good. And it's like 11 o'clock. Week later, he fell over and died. And I started to see that, and I just knew that lifestyle that I was living couldn't be sustained, and like either I was going to have to give it up, or it was going to give me up, basically.
How long has it been now that you stopped drinking?
I stopped drinking December 10th, December 17th, 2010.
Yeah, I stopped back in 2019, February 6th. Yeah, I said it's not for me anymore.
And awesome. What the real catalyst for it, besides seeing people do damage to themselves, I just gotten engaged to my now wife, and we were at a party one night, and I'm never the guy that I'm like, I can have a social drink. I got to the point where like it was like all or nothing. Like, I don't know how to get one tattoo. I got to get my arms done, kind of thing. So one night we went out, and I remember waking up the next morning, and like, you know how when you wake up and then it all starts coming back like a movie, like what happened, and like
what the fuck did I do? Yeah.
What the fuck did I do? You know what I mean? And that's when I woke up, and she woke up, and I said, and all I said was, I am so sorry, and I will never drink again. And she's like, no, she's really sweet about it. She's like, no, I get it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. No, I said, no, that's it. It's done. And I didn't do anything to her, but I just made a fool of myself, being a spectacle and just slamming doors and being an asshole. And I'm like, I don't want to do that ever again. And I never did. That was the day it all ended. I got too good at it. Like my boys and I would go out and just get blackout drunk and wake up and not even feel hungover the next day. I would just be like, okay, let's do it again.
Yeah, it's the same effect over and over and over. It's crazy. And it's you black out, and you don't remember what happened. You don't enjoy the time. It's not good. It's not good.
So I gave it up. I retired my jersey.
That's awesome. We had 2 weeks ago, we had a guy, Charlie from Abina Soda, and for me not drinking, it's a great pairing. It brings out a lot of flavors for. You should check it out. Now that I know you're not drinking, definitely check it out. It's something that pairs wonderful. Abina Cigars, ABBINA, Abina Soda.
Yeah, he crafts these special sodas that are meant to pair with cigars.
That's cool, because literally the only thing I ever drink with my cigars is coffee. Coffee is one thing that it sounds weird, but I've been drinking coffee daily since I was in first grade.
Wow.
And I would go back to that now as an adult, like years later. I asked my mom, like, why the hell what were you doing giving me coffee when I was 1 year old, but I'd always have coffee in a mug with a little bit of condensed milk. And I grew up drinking coffee, and I haven't stopped since. So I drink coffee every day, and water. And,
cigars and coffee is so good together. It's probably one of the best out there.
Ernesto turned me on to Bustelo back when I was.
Oh yeah,
I was down. Bustelo was like my shit.
Yeah, dude,
it's so good. But a good strong coffee and a cigar. That's my thing. That's my vice.
So you guys had some organizational changes over the last year. You got a new title. Has your day-to-day changed at all?
No, it's just like, the things that I was responsible for when we started this business are still the same things I'm responsible for now. Like my days didn't change. I remember my old business partner, Mike Conder, my wife would continually complain, like, you're working so hard, you're doing all this and that. And he's playing golf up in Hilton Head, and he.
Oh man.
I said, you know what? That may be true, and it was true. I said, but it doesn't matter. I said, I still, whether he's sitting across from me or if he's in another state, I'm still responsible for doing all of these things, and I got to do it. So it doesn't change anything. So now the only difference is that he's retired. Tim's been in the business for he really came back like 5 years ago. He tells people it's been like a couple of years, but it really this is his 6th PCA with Oz Cigars. So we've kind of gotten used to it. Really nothing's changed that much, it's nice to have Tim in the office and be here, whereas like Mike was never in the office for years. Like I tell people, he actually retired 5 years before he retired. There's the girl. There
it is.
Oh my God, look at that.
You're muted, Mike. You're muted.
Sorry, yeah, it's one of the two. The other one's trying to figure out how she can jump up now.
She's fluffy.
How old is
She's
she?
big.
She's 4. Yeah,
Oh,
she'll be
wow.
4. She'll be 4 in
Young.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
I know.
awesome. I love dogs.
You know what? My dream dog, my wife's too, was a Newfoundland. You guys know what Newfoundland? No, Newfies. Those big water dogs,
They're big, man. They're big.
They're huge. They're like 150 pounds.
100. Yeah, I was about to say 130 pounds. Yeah.
Yep. And that's the whole reason why we moved where we moved, because before we were living together in a little like 900 square foot cottage in East Nashville, and then we decided we wanted to start a life together, get married, move out, whatever. And so we met with a real estate agent. And the guy's like, what do you want? And I'm like, well, we want to get a Newfoundland. And so he's like, that's a big dog. I'm like, yeah. Well, you need at least an acre of land. Okay. And that was our starting point of our house hunt. And so we ended up like moving out like northeast of Nashville, and we have like 2.5 acres now. And we never got our Newf. We rescued a dog that was like literally 8 pounds, and she was this big. And so I said, we moved all the way out here for this shit, and then we get this little tiny dog. So
it's like the yard is so big.
Yeah, that was our Newf.
That's awesome, man.
So
I can't remember, what were we talking about? Somebody asked me a question, I think.
Oh, your new title. You kind of answered.
Oh, the title and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, having Tim here it's good from a creative energy standpoint. My thing when Mike told me that Tim was coming back into the business like in 21, he said, hey, Tim wants to come back into business, and I'm like, all right. I said, as long as he does his thing and I do my thing. It wasn't that there was any animosity or anything. It was just that I didn't want what he's going to do to look like a retread of what I've been doing and vice versa. And I didn't want to compromise the culture that I'd created. So I kind of wanted to is there a way where we can put both under the same umbrella and just kind of keep in the same lane? And I think we've been pretty successful doing it to this point. He's got his own way of doing things and his own ideas, and he's able to go in that route, and I do my thing. So it's cool. But the titles mean nothing.
Yeah. That title doesn't mean anything. I mean, if you're doing the same thing, it's that title doesn't mean anything. Absolutely not.
You wear many hats, both literally and figuratively.
Yeah, you could say that for sure. There's never the same day twice in a row. Like if people tell me, what's your normal day look like, and I'm like, there is no normal day. It's always different. It's always changing, which is one of the things that's nice about doing what I do.
Yep.
But it's not like I have a regimented, like, okay, I got to punch the clock. I mean, there are certain things that are consistencies in my day. Like I get up at 5:30 and I have to come in here and work out before I start the day. And then, I got to spend time with my wife, my daughter, and stuff like that. Those are the mainstays. But in terms of when I'm here at the headquarters, it varies a lot. It's one day last week on this day, I was sitting with a guy that makes knives, and we're doing a collaboration together, and we're talking about how we can film this and make it look like On the Roam and all these great ideas we're collaborating on, and then now today I'm talking to you guys a week later, and, and just, it's always something different, which is cool.
That's pretty cool. Something new every day. That's what it's about,
Yeah. As long as I'm creating, I'm in a good headspace. Like that's one thing I've learned about myself over the years is like, if I'm not able to create whatever that is, whether it's just even taking a cool picture or something, I got to be constantly doing something that I could never just be sitting in a box, like doing paperwork and shit like that. I would absolutely go crazy. I learned that. I mean, I've had some really bad jobs, so I appreciate where I'm at now even more so than if somebody just handed this to me, because I could tell you some stories about some shit jobs that I had in the day. So
before we close, what is the future for the rest of 2026 for Crowned Heads? What do you want to talk about?
Rest of 2026. Monday is we're gonna actually get the first shipment of Moonflower in the building, which is, I'm excited to get it in and out.
Awesome.
It's we pretty much oversold it. We typically, like with Broadway, I gave you real numbers with Broadway. When we put in the first opening order, it was like 500 boxes of each size.
Mm-hmm.
Going into this show, we said, okay, we're going to roll the dice and say this is going to be even bigger of a hit. So we almost doubled it. We went 800 boxes of each size, and we sold even more than that to this point. So everything's going to be on back order even after the first shipment. So we're going to be playing some catch up. But so I want to get Moonflower out. We're going to get Tim's World Cup LE out. And then the next announcement will be Decimo and Rosario. Well, it'll be just Decimo for 2026. And then I'm going to do an LE for Broadway, small LE extension to Broadway. And then I'm working on the Paniolo for Hawaii in October. A couple of shop exclusives. Working on a couple of things more with Creekside. What else? And we're working on our website overhaul. That's a huge project going on. Some interesting collaborations. And then I'm already working on 27 for the new regular production release with the Garcias. And I just signed on to do a collaboration with Dixon Flannels. I don't know if you guys know who those guys are, but Dixon is a major workwear brand, and they, out of the blue, kind of just fell into my lap and said, hey, do you want to do something cool together? I'm like, what do you mean? We'll do a Crowned Heads flannel. You do a Dixon cigar, and we'll do some cross promotions and sell them Q3 of 27. So we'll start working on that.
Cool.
And
so a lot coming. A lot. I like it. Beautiful.
Yeah. We'll be busy. So, but yeah. And then we're going to try to continue launching this Nashville Originals campaign to tie the two brands together. Website's a big to do. We have to get that website going, because our website was designed in like 2012 on WordPress, and we haven't updated it at all. There's no cigar information on it. It's just terrible. It's a terrible website. So we got to level that up. So we got a lot of stuff to do. A lot of things going on.
It's a big process. That's a big Mike Stepankevich from Pastania is redoing his website, and he talks about it every day. And he goes, he thinks he's got it where he wants it, and then all of a sudden his developer will be, what about this idea? Oh yeah, I like that. And he goes, and then we go back 5 steps. So he goes, yeah, it's not
I'm
easy.
kind of like, I'm like, does anybody even go to websites anymore though? Like, I just kind of wonder what the importance is, but everybody's telling me, oh, you got to have a website, you got to have a landing page, and you got to have customer acquisition, you got to have this, you got to have that, and all this stuff. So whatever. I mean, my main thing is like stay in the moment, do the best I can today. Tomorrow will take care of itself, kind of a thing. I've never been the guy with the 5-year plan and the 10-year plan, and I just try to just maximize the present. That's it. That's all you can do. So,
well, it's been about an hour and a half.
Has it really?
Is anything else pressing?
Yeah, it has, man.
So you can get to your family and enjoy your Friday night.
I just got here an hour before we went on. I just got to the office. So it's been a very truncated day for me. Yeah, I mean, my wife had something to do with her mother. I had to take care of her for an appointment. And I stayed back with our daughter because she's on summer break. And then I took her to her camp. And then I came in here like 1, and then I got on here with you guys with 2. So a couple of little housekeeping things to do. And then I'm going to blow out of here and go do our typical pizza Friday night family.
Really appreciate your time, man, with us. Really do.
Man, thank you guys. I get the impression you guys normally do this on a live thing, like on a Tuesday.
Yes.
So if you guys made accommodations for my sorry ass, I apologize, but I'm grateful.
No, and I respect it.
Really
I respect it when you said, "Hey, this is what I do, and this is the time frame." It's like going, "Hey, I want to fit into that." You're doing us a favor by coming on the show, so we'll make the time.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anytime you want to make the time, I'm here. We'll shoot the shit, whatever you want to talk about.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. So I appreciate
thank
you,
you, John. I appreciate you, man.
Yep.
Pleasure's mine.
Thank you, guys.
All right, John, one of my favorite brands. Really enjoyed the conversation, and everybody like and subscribe, and we'll try and bring you more content like this. Until next time, put some smoke in the air.